Hi guys, BTC Gambler, I'm back. Listen, if you've been following the live stream that's been running on Discord, I finally got the end results, guys, so that it's completed. It said 9 days up there, but it took about 8 days, to be honest with you. It's finished quite a while back. And so it's done 7,200,000 bets per bot. And we have the final results, and I'm going to crunch the numbers. I'm going to extract all this data, and I'm going to put it in Excel, and I'm going to look and analyze the numbers. But while that's doing that, intervening these 8 days where we've been running this testing, I've written the code to simulate Dragon Tower, which is exactly where I want to be. So I'm going to take this data, and then I'm going to switch Alphaverse over to be using Dragon Tower on hard mode, 1 row, 50-50 win chance. Best game to play on Alphaverse. I'm going to get this all set up, and I will bring you back. Okay, I'm back. So I'm just going to take the total profit. Oh. Thankfully I've got the information stored. Clicking on that resets it. Let me go back. Bear with me. Thankfully I copied it over into Excel before I've done anything. So yeah, as you can see, it's 1 month simulation here. So the total profit is here. So 311,899 TRX, which works out to be $33,129 over the duration of 1 month with 170 bots. Now, if we look at the data on that, if we go to, so if we look at the stats on this, so I put it all in here. So if we look at all of the results from that, look at the stats on this, and I've counted the max loss streak on all the accounts, and they're color coded. So pretty much every one of them would have busted, because it only reports amber if there was a bust, and then yeah, and it would report red if it recorded the recovery, the recovery part. It's an extreme number. So the total number of bets that this was tested over was 1.224 billion bets. It's crazy. And this was based on the information that I got from doing extreme testing using the dissected simulator, where I was able to get 240,000 bets per second to calculate the best point to put the switch over under. And I calculated it to be an 82 loss streak. Prior to me putting that switch over under, if I just left it to its own device and did no switch over under, I saw a 102 loss streak. And this was the reason why it's going to be so important to know this. This is the reason why I put such a large recovery pot in simulation of 1.4 million TRX. So it turns out we didn't need anywhere near that. So let's go back to the validity checker. We saw, going back to the stats, the max loss of 91, which means it would have gone into the 92nd bet. So we needed enough funds to cover up to 92. And as you can see, we would have still had 1.247 million. So I feel we can, to cover, so it's green at 92, we would not have needed a 1.4 million recovery pot. We'd have needed 153,000 recovery pot to cover up to a max loss of 92, which would have covered us for the whole month. Just a mere 153,000. So that means pretty much would have got money back in 2 weeks of running this continuously. Now personally, I would have been too nervous to run with 92. The maths has held out strong, I have to say, and the deep analysis of the seed data using the dissected simulator has been immensely helpful, knowing where best to strategically place the switch over under. And when I initially put in the base bet 1.4 million simply to cover, because I saw 102 during simulation prior to doing strategic switch over under. And as you can see, if we add up what the net bet is up until, we'd have to go to 103 really. That's 1.25 million, and that's exactly the reason why I had 1.4 million in there, to cover up to 103 losses. But we got nowhere near that. We got nowhere near it. Now, where I want to get to, I mean, this dice is good, and this is really good without a shadow of doubt. I would say take the profit here at this stage with a pinch of salt, because I'm not entirely convinced that the maths was right in the code. Somebody made a comment in Discord that the maths for the profit wasn't being calculated properly. And that may well be true. Because fundamentally, I wasn't really checking for the profit. I was checking what the mass loss streak I could experience if it is, as if I was really betting. Every bet was provably fair, exactly simulating the casino. So either we got lucky in this instance, I don't know, but it was a very interesting exercise, and it does leave a lot to think about. If you was thinking about solo running Alphaverse, this probably might well be your best choice. 18% win chance, 22.34% on a loss, start bet of 0.0003, and have 153,000 as a recovery pot, and the switch over under at -82. Now that has stood out and held up for 1.224 billion bets, which go in the face against the probabilities and the odds, because if we look at that, you'd have to go to the 91st bet, lose at the 91st bet, and attempt to do the 92nd bet, and obviously won't have enough fund. And the chances of hitting there is 84,942,000 to 1. I can tell you now that's a number I'm not comfortable with. Those odds, it could well be, the secret sauce, that switch over under at -82 would be the thing that changed everything. But go into it with your eyes wide open, knowing what the odds and the probabilities are. You would say with an 84,944,000, say 85 million to 1 chance of happening, yet you're doing 1.224 billion bets. You would say that's odds on favourite to you crash, but it didn't. Right, before we move on, let's go back to Alphaverse. I'm kind of ready to test Dragon Tower at this stage, and I've set one up. And I've set one up to simulate 1 day's running, just simply because I wanted to validate this time the profit. So I believe I've done the profit calculation right within this one, and this is completed, and it's run, I have to say it runs a lot faster. So Dragon Tower is now available as simulation as well, and that is going to be my next simulation. And I'm going to put this live, and I'm going to convert all of Alphaverse to run Dragon Tower, but I'm going to have a 300 start balance in each, and I'm going to cover up to 31 losses. So if I just bring up the spreadsheet. Okay, so this is the spreadsheet I've rejigged now for Dragon Tower, and you're going to see the reasons why I will prefer Dragon Tower. Still need a big recovery pot, 1.178 million TRX to cover 31 losses. And the reason I want 31 losses is because you look at the odds and the probability on this, they are a stark difference. So it means hitting 30 is a 1 in a billion chance. So it'd have to hit 30 and lose and go to the 32nd bet, which is a 2 billion to 1 chance. Now they're the sorts of odds that I like. So when I was testing this for real, when I was really betting, these were the sorts of figures that you'd expect to get result from. So it was making about 1.25 TRX per hour per bot, which is nothing, as you know, guys. And this is where you need to be at. So if you want to throw impossible odds back at, you're going to get a low win. And where you make your money is when you increase the number of bots. You have the same amount of risk, you just increase the bots. And I wanted to see whether these figures fully match through. Then there may well be a dollar price variation, because when I did this spreadsheet, it was dependent on the price of TRX at the time. So let's double check that. Let's go back to Alphaverse. So this said it made at the time 30 TRX in 1 day, and if we go back to Alphaverse, we did slightly better. It made 34 TRX. So I know, and bear in mind that was just a rough calculation. So I'm pretty confident. So this would make around about 3.66. So if we put that data into the spreadsheet, so if we come over to CoinGecko, that is the current exchange rate. So I'm going to put that in the spreadsheet. So if we're correct, the spreadsheet should say $3.36 made in 1 day. So that matches through, $3.66. Now we've got the right exchange rate in there. So that means that one bot would have made $29 and $117 in a month. Now in this simulation, what I expected to do is with 170 bots is to make a healthy $18,000 a month, or 188,000 TRX. And obviously where I want to get to, guys, and this is what this is all about, it's a recruitment drive. I want to get to 1,000 bots, and I think that the only sensible way I'm going to be able to do this is if I host it all. I've got 170 accounts already. There's loads of users out there with hundreds of accounts. If we group together If we get to 1,000 bots, then it's 106,000 a month. So you basically recoup your money really in the first month. And that would be the prime objective, is to get everybody to get the money back first, and then we play it for as long as we possibly can, throwing back like 2 billion to 1 odds at the casino, and we keep running it until it may or may not eventually crash. But the first objective would be to get everybody's money back, and then once a week we would draw down the profits, and it would just get divided up equally between the number of accounts. And just so we could calculate what that would be, the actual investment required if you wanted to join the syndicate, let me quickly do this maths. So the way we would play it is, if we put 225 start balance in every account, that would take us to 19 loss. It means that it doesn't crash too frequently when you do that. And when it crashes at 19, it then will automatically call the recovery pot. So we can say we can add the recovery pot here, which is going to take us to a max loss of 31. I jigged all the numbers now, so taking into fact the recovery pot required is 1,178,000. But if we share that out across 1,000 accounts, that's only 1,178 TRX. And given the fact that we want a start balance of 225 TRX per bot, it means that we need a total. And if you want to join this syndicate, every account that comes into it has to do one. It has to have Mr. BTC Gambler in the welcome offer, or it won't run at all. That's hard coded into Alphaverse. Number 2, it must have wagered $500. If you haven't wagered $500, the tip function doesn't work, which means that basically it could end up with a recovery pot and not being able to tip it. It's essential that under statistics, you've got to show that you've wagered a minimum of $500. So there's various ways of doing that. Reach out to the community, because the way I did it is using Baccarat, but there's probably more efficient ways. I have actually used Infinity Code to wager $500 for free, but it just takes a long time. So I'm expecting people to, we use accounts that meet that criteria, and they have to have exactly 1,403 TRX in the account, and they would have wagered $500 so that it can effectively play, and it must have Mr. BTC Gamble in the welcome offer. If we can build it up to 1,000, these are the sorts of returns. Now I'm going to run it all from my data center. I've got the infrastructure, the hardware, the knowledge and know-how, and the time to run it all. And there's a hosting fee. To run 1,000 bots ain't easy. You need a lot of hardware. And obviously the whole thing would be live streamed in Discord, or might live stream it in a private YouTube stream or something. I'll find a way to get the information over to you. But we have time, because what I'm going to be doing now is, if I go back to Alphaverse, as you can see, I ran and simulated exactly one day there, just so that I wanted to purely verify my maths was correct in terms of profit calculation, which it does. It's exactly right. I can now scale this out, and I'm going to convert all of my Alphaverse to run this, to simulate a month's running on this as well. With the high expectation, it's going to be pretty darn close to the maths that we've calculated out here, and we'll find that out. So we hit 18 loss streak there, so that would have never recalled the recovery pot, and to test things even more. I'm running qBot. I say it's a very essential tool, guys. If you don't have it, you need it. And so there'll be a link in the description for qBot. Show some appreciation to, fundamentally, obviously the creator of qBot, but it was also fundamental in the creation of Alphaverse, and he's also recently helped me to get Dragon Tower provably fair as well, which I could not do. There's a link to his qBot channel there, and if you can use that link, please, because that shows my appreciation to him for the work that he does do, and for you and the community as a whole, to let him know that it's me that's sending you. Okay, does that make sense? If you haven't got qBot, you would need qBot. So I'm just going to leave this running as well. This has been running for 3 days, and I've seen a maximum of 20 loss streak. So I'm just going to leave it running. I'm just going to I'd do that. I'd leave qBot running for a very long time. I'm doing no betting, no value, betting at the fastest possible speed I can, looking at the worst case scenario. And I am attempting, there are 2 things. So I'm going to rebuild Alphaverse, kick it off, I'll put it on a live stream again. I run a month simulation on it. When I bet on Dragon Tower, I will always stick in the same position. I will pick a random location. It'll be 0 or 1, and it doesn't change. It stays on that. And that's where we're throwing back the 2 billion to 1 odds. So I'm going to change all of Alphaverse to reflect exactly what I've got in the spreadsheet. So I'm going to set it up exactly like this. I'm going to have 225 balance, start balance in every account. I'm going to set it so it vaults every time it does make 6 TRX profit. I'm going to have a recovery pot, or simulated recovery pot, of 1,178,000, and I'm going to set all this up and I'll bring you back. Okay, I've done it. I've set it all up. What we're looking at now is Alphaverse rebuilt, but using Dragon Tower now instead of using dice. This is exactly where I want to be. Dragon Tower is my preferred game to play on Alphaverse. I've got it set up in simulation mode again. Right, what I've done, I've set all the simulation information needed in the client config file. So I'm just making sure I don't show anything sensitive there. Okay, so I've set the recovery balance, so the start balance of 225. I set the number bet to 7,200,000, which represents 1 month's running, and I've got a simulated recovery pot of 1,178,000, which is what we need as per the spreadsheet. Now, I've never run this before. I've run this in test, and I have to say it was a lot faster. I'm a little bit concerned it's going to overload the server, so this is a bit of a lot of unknowns here. I can see some of these VPNs, not that it matters. You don't need a VPN. The only reason we've got the VPN up and running is because we want the client talking to the server, and the server's already pre-coded to talk to the casino. So the actual betting it's got no relevance on the latency. Anyway, right, I'm going to reset the timer. Profits at 0, wages at 0, and I'm going to click run and just pray it all goes smoothly. See, I changed the version number here, so it's very easy for me to see that they're all on the right version number. Right. Now, I don't expect this to crash too frequently because it's actually going to be quite difficult. I'm going to switch to qBot because that's still running. So this has been running now for quite some time. It's done a number of bets, 3.2 million bets, and it's, yeah, the worst it's seen is 22, but I'd say 23 as well, because when this runs, I'm running in hard mode, which is this mode here, which is true 50-50 odds. Now I've got mine on the code to actually randomly select which one it's going to stay going, but it never moves. It doesn't change. It stays in that position. So we have to look at both the max win chance and the max loss streak, because it could have gone either way. Yeah. So it's the highest streak, which is 23. So I'm going to be in general voice here so everybody can see this. I'm going to be muted and I'm going to be sharing my screen. So if you really want to see this, you can come on. There'll be a link in the description to come and join me on Discord. Now this is the really interesting one, because this is the one that I want to go live with. If we was to run as a syndicate, I'd be looking together to get together 1,000 bots together, and I'd run it all. Yeah, if you're coming here blind for the first time, and the first time you've heard about Mr. BTC Gambler, the first time you've heard about Alphaverse, and you're wondering what the hell's going on, because this is almost like a continuation video. So I highly recommend to go back and watch the last video, but I'd say go and watch the previous 3, because this one talks about Alphaverse, this one talks about the setup guide. If you want to run Alphaverse yourself, this tells you how to set it all up. This one here is quite an important one, because it talks about mastering betting data using mass calculations to calculate the best way to do betting. So I highly encourage you to go to, very first, guys, like this is my old channel got deleted by YouTube, which is really frustrating. I was averaging 20-30,000 views a video. I had many thousands of subscribers. Then I got banned, and it got banned for, I'm not even sure what reasons why, to be honest with you, and I've had to start from scratch again. So please, I beg you, please subscribe to the channel. I feel like I'm starting from scratch. I had hundreds of videos. They've all gone. They're all probably out of date now anyway. All irrelevant anyway. But you can help me, please, by subscribing to the channel. Hit that bell notification, because when I do release videos, they're either going to be a continuation of this. I ask you kindly please to share this, because think about this. It's us, the players, them, the casino, they're the enemy. You know, like we need to work together as a community. This is Alphaverse is your tool as well as it's my tool. I use it, you can use it. Discord is just as much your server as it is mine. So it's a community of really smart-minded people, and I want to bring in more people. I mean, how the heck do you think we can create Alphaverse in the first place? It's because we got a bunch of really smart people. Let's move that screen out of the way. We got a bunch of really smart people. Now in Discord, there is lots of stuff. There's tutorial videos, lots of stuff in here. There's code. There's qBot, and if you haven't got qBot, I'm telling you, you will need qBot. So I ask you kindly, please, if you are going to buy qBot, there is a link in the description. I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing this for the very fact that I want to show appreciation to the creator of qBot, because he was heavily involved in the creation of Alphaverse, and he recently helped me to create the code to calculate the raw outputs from the API call to convert into game events for Dragon Tower that exactly 100% matches the provably fair. There seems to be only one person in the world capable of doing that, and that's the creator of this software here. So he gets nothing but respect from me, and so as mark of respect, you can, if you are going to buy qBot, or you're looking at buying qBot, use the link. I'll put it as a pinned item on the comment menu, and I will put it in the description in the video, because that will let the developer know Mr. BTC Gambler sent him to say thank you for the work that he has done. So I am on a recruitment drive. I'm looking for more talented people, and I'm looking to put together this syndicate. What I'm looking to do is take on more moderators in the channel, and I want you to think that Discord, let's go back to Discord, this is not my server, it's our server, and together we can work on something pretty special. Ideas came to mind. Right, I've got to call a wrap on this video, guys. So Alphaverse is still running. It's been 3 hours now, so I've left it for a little while. Running really well. So I'm quite impressed with the betting speed. 92,000 bets per bot, 14 million bets per hour in total on 170 bots. Can you imagine what this is going to be like when we get to 1,000? But that's it. I'm going to call an end to the video here now, guys. There'll be a bunch of links in the description of this video. If you want to find me, and if you're interested in any of this, Discord is the place to go, guys. I'm really looking forward to seeing you over there, and I'll speak to you all again very, very, very soon.